I don't think anyone's here yet, but we're just testing things out. There we go. Hey guys. Awesome. I'm just checking out who's here because we're just a couple minutes away. If you can say hi, I think there's just one viewer now. Okay, we've got 2 viewers. Let's just see. Whoever's here, those that are joining us for the call, can you send me a little note to let me know who's here? And if you can hear me and the broadcast is okay. Okay, we got 3 viewers now. I'm just going to pop onto Facebook too and see, make sure that I'm getting you guys. Okay, great. Awesome. Thanks, Ellie. Okay, so let me just hop on to our Mad Hero group. Okay. Hi, guys. Please click. I'm just telling you guys to click. There's a little message box in the top left-hand corner on my screen. Okay, there. So I just sent you guys a note just in case you can't read my notes. But there is in the top left-hand corner, you have a message box that allows you to leave a little message. So if you slide your cursor over to the left, then you'll up to the top, you can see there's a little message box. Anybody have that? I want to wait till I get you guys. If you click on that message box, it says group chat. And then you should be able to access it, but I'm not hearing from anyone. So if you're not able to access that, please let me know in our Mad Mastermind, in our Mad Co-Creator thread. Okay, there's Ellie. So you're looking at me. I don't see it. Forward info. Okay, I don't see it either there, sweetie. Down in the right-hand corner, maybe? Let me just see. Download, share to Facebook. This is all new. Okay, info. Does it say anything on info for being able to tap that? Or the settings up in the right-hand corner? I can't see below if there's another box. Is anyone else on the call? So anyone else on the live broadcast now? You found it. Yay. Okay. Awesome. Can you tell others, Ellie, where that is? Okay. Can you let folks know where to click the link for messaging? Ellie. Okay. Ellie, are you able to see, are you able to type into that little box for me just to see if folks are able to tap that? I typed on YouTube. Okay. Let me see if, I'm sorry guys, we're kind of working this out. This is new for us. So let me just see if I am seeing what you're able to see. View watch page. Okay. 10 watching now. There we go. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, this is really funky. Okay, so is there a delay? I'm here. Jade is too. Hi, Jade says create a channel to join the chat. Live chat. Okay, I can hear you. Wealth learning. The chat's right in front of you. Just sent you a screenshot. No. Okay, what's the no to? Are you guys here? So I'm on, this is so funny because I am looking at me on live YouTube, but I'm on Google Hangouts. So yeah. Is there a delay? Can you, okay. Let me just see. So no delay. Okay, great. Then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to leave in here. That's so funny because I'm looking at me and I'm delaying and then I'm on Google Hangouts and it seems fine. So that's great. So everybody's here. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to pop off here because I can't see your chats while I'm here. Okay, no worries. We're going to dive in because we have tons to cover today. So we have all of our folks that are on here from the Mad Heroes authors. We also have 2 extra folks that have popped in, 3 actually, that have popped on that are not from our group. So I'm just going to do a little intro. My name's Jennifer Mackey and I own a company called Project Yes Life. And this is new for us, this Mad Mastermind. We wanted to create an environment where we're having these engaging conversations about your heroic adventure. And so today we're actually going to kick off and we're going to talk about the hero adventure that is your life. So I'm going to pop off of here because I'm looking at me and I'm going to pop out of here so that I can see what's happening in Google Hangouts. Just give me 1 second, please. Okay, there we go. Awesome, and I'll check back in a little while. So I'm gonna talk for a little while and I'm gonna have you guys engage. I'm gonna ask you first, does everyone have the handout that I sent you? And if you can let me know, if you can tell me if you have the handout that I sent you in email, because you're gonna need that for today for sure, because you're going to be doing some work from there. So can you send me a little note, guys, and just folks say, yeah, I've got your handout just before we get started. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, thank you, Ellie. You're so sweet, honey. Okay, perfect. Okay, everybody's got it. Awesome. Okay, we're going to dive in. It's fascinating when you're doing these and you start wrapping your head around what we're going to cover today about this hero's journey. And so this morning, for whatever reason, something popped into my mind that I haven't thought of in a while. And when my husband and I got married, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, we sang a song at our wedding together and he played guitar and I sang the song. And for whatever reason, these lyrics popped up for me today. And some of you may have heard of this awesome group called the Indigo Girls. And they sing a really unbelievably powerful song called Closer to Fine. And so I just want to share with you the lyrics. And I want you to just take a moment, maybe take a deep breath. And if you can hear me, close your eyes and, kind of tune me out visually and just listen to the words of this song because it's going to tie into everything that we're discussing today. Okay? Okay. I'm trying to tell you something about my life. Maybe give me insight between black and white. And the best thing you've ever done for me is to help me take my life less seriously. It's only life after all. Well, the darkness has a hunger that's insatiable, and the lightness has a call that's hard to hear. I wrap my fear around me like a blanket. I sailed my ship of safety till I sank it. I'm crawling on your shores. And there's more that I'm going to share in a bit. But the reason why I wanted to share that with you is that, I don't know, have you guys heard of that song? You love that song. Awesome. So this song is the hero's journey. And it doesn't matter how successful we feel in our lives in one area or many areas. It doesn't matter, what level we're at. We are constantly, as human beings, are being driven to rise to another level. And so whatever stage we're at, we can move through those ebbs and flows. And that's the real authentic journey that we're talking about here. That's why we even wanted to start something called Mad Masterminds. The concept of mad is, we talk about this concept of walking the razor's edge. When you're madly passionate about your life, you walk this razor's edge. Half the time, if you're doing anything unique in this world, you feel like you are absolutely insane. That you're kind of looking at the world from the outside in. That when you look at the crazy of our world and what's particularly happening now in various parts of our world, in politics, the news, media, we can look at it and think, I feel like I don't belong. But there is a whole host of us, the longer I'm on this journey, and I know every single one of you that is on this call today, you absolutely understand that there are many, many, many just like us that are just as crazy, just as wild, just as dedicated to living outside that box, wanting to do things differently. And I bet you would agree with me when I say that that is not at all an easy journey. That when we choose to walk this razor's edge in our mad passion, then we are constantly having to step into our truth. We're having to constantly evaluate what the world would tell us we need to do for our lives and what we're truly called to do. And I know, personally in my own life, and having, lived in a backpack, out of a backpack for 8 years and traveled around the world and almost getting engaged and then giving that up to travel, and then, having children and homeschooling and seeming like the crazy mom, and, choosing that my children wouldn't just eat absent-mindedly, or they wouldn't just unconsciously, whatever they put into their mind, it wouldn't be unconscious. Whatever they put into their heart, into their mouths, wouldn't be unconscious. It is a difficult journey, but it's the hero's journey. And we know that the longer we're on it. And so these words, this whole idea that I'm trying to tell you something about my life, that's what we're doing each and every day in our businesses, in our lives, and how we're living and showing up, not only for ourselves, but our families and the community and in the world, is that we're trying to tell something about our lives and find this balance between black and white, because life is not made up of the black and white. And this morning I actually sat down with our son, Liam, and I told him about this song, and he knows the song, he sung it. But I talked to him about this journey, and that we're not always good. There's no right or wrong way to do what we're doing, is there? There's no black and there's no white. But this lightness we have to keep returning to, because the world is of darkness. There are many elements in our life that are of darkness. And the darkness, its only purpose is to serve us, to rise us to another level, right? And so the other line in the song, this darkness has a hunger that's insatiable. This darkness is all around us on a regular basis. And it can come in booming voice, or it can come in subtleties that eat away at our spirit and gnaw away at our self-confidence and inject fear into the choices that we're making, instead of constantly flowing from that state of purpose and consciousness and passion. And we need to find ways to return to the light. And so this whole concept of the Mad Heroes Handbook that we're all writing together, and those of you that are joining us that aren't in that book, you're going to have an opportunity to experience that. Each one of you in your own work, you're about drawing people to the light. And so it's actually really fun today for you to have an opportunity, because you're offering this so much to other people, that I feel honored that I get to offer a little bit of time and space for you to have some introspection on what makes you light and how you can continually return to that. So I want you to turn to your handout. One of the most powerful things that we can consider or look at or reflect upon at regular intervals in our life is how we got to here. It's really important that as we get busy in all the creation, that we don't negate those defining moments in life. What has made us? What's transformed us? If they're challenging things, we need to look at them, because that allows us to understand that we don't maybe want to go there again. If they're great things, we want to celebrate them to be able to remember how powerful we are. I know most of you have your own businesses, if not all of you that are on the call right now. But if you've ever looked back at your resume, if you've ever had opportunity to look back at your accomplishments over the years, I always find that such a powerful exercise, because when I get busy in my own life, I can negate all of the powerful experiences that I've had over the course of my lifetime and what that means to me now. Sometimes I can get caught up, if you're anything like me, you can get caught up in, the no's of life. No, I haven't done that yet. No, that's my visual. And we forget to celebrate our yes, or the fires that we've walked through, and to acknowledge them and to give thanks for them. Because sometimes it's the most challenging experiences that we have faced that have made us who we are. In fact, the good times can elevate us, but the bad times, the challenging times, the frustrations, the fears, the worries, that's what transforms us. So I want you to take a moment and I want you to pay homage to a fire that you've walked through in your life. I want you to take a deep breath and remember how incredible you are because you moved through it. So take a moment right now and write down what fire you've moved through. And it can be in your childhood, it can be yesterday, it doesn't matter when it is, but I want you to take a moment to just honor that fire that you've walked through. Okay, take a second. Everybody got it? It's such a strange feeling not seeing you guys there and seeing your faces, because I've only done these live webinars where I can see your beautiful little faces in live form, and then I know you're all a part of it. So send me a little note and let me know if you tapped out, if you put out your fire, put down your fire. Everybody's still on the call. Okay. I haven't heard from anyone yet, so send me a little note, guys, if you can, just so I can see this is all good. Okay, it's out, baby. Done. Got my fire. Moved through the fire. Lots of them. Absolutely. Yes. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, and I know everybody's still here. Okay, and Maya, I don't see you on the call, Angel, so I'm really hoping that you were able to tap back in here, because I saw a note earlier on that maybe you had to create an account. So when you pop back on here, Maya, if you're here, please. Oh, there you are. Okay, good. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So that's a fundamental part. So that, I know many of you would have worked through these fires, but our fires are constantly coming around. Little fires, big fires, in between fires. Yesterday on the Mad Monday call, I was talking about Kryptonite. I had the craziest morning ever with family visiting. Everybody's kind of out of sorts. And so, even after I feel pretty centered in my life, we can have those mornings or those days or those moments that can rock our world. And that's just a calling for us to come back to center and to celebrate more of our yes moments. So what I want you to reflect on now is a yes moment in your life, a time when you accomplished something that you felt incredibly proud of, to pay homage and to honor that. So what is a yes moment in your life? It could have been a lesson that you learned, something you accomplished, but so often in life, we move on to the no's or the next thing as opposed to acknowledging. So I just want you to take a second and acknowledge a really great yes moment in your life. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so now what I want you to do is, taking a look at that yes moment, I want you to think about what of the traits were in there. What are the characteristics of you, just in bullet point, what are the characteristics of you that came to the forefront in that yes moment? What kind of person were you? How did you feel about yourself? What were the values that you held dear that you were sharing in that yes moment? What did you have to do to get there? And take a second to write that down. So all of those elements in that yes moment, that is like a little mini hero's journey, isn't it? So when you work through the challenges of whatever you were facing, when you come out on the other side, when you can celebrate who you are and what you've done, that's like a little mini hero's journey, right? The crescendo to the chaos, and then the pushing through into the light and being able to achieve something really fabulous. And within that little microcosm of achievement are all the elements of you as a hero. And some of you can be super clear about this and maybe are at this point in your life. And others of you might be struggling or wondering, or maybe the world feels like you got it all together, but behind the scenes, you're feeling like you're barely keeping it together. And all of us go through that. That's what this is about. And so I want you to take a look at that, and I want you to think about the next element, which is your CAPEabilities. So CAPEabilities are these things that are innate traits that are within us. And we talk about this lots as a family, because with our children growing up at this stage right now, there are elements of them that can be irksome, that can be challenging. And yet that all of those elements of them, those characteristics, those traits, they have value and purpose. We all have those within us. And when we negate those traits, or we see them as less than positive, less than life-giving, then that can hold us back from fully achieving our full potential, both personally and professionally. So I want you to take a moment. I want you to think about your CAPEability. So I'll give you an example. As a young person, you can maybe imagine that one of my CAPEabilities was communication. And it didn't always come in the form of listening. It came in a lot of talking. So in grade 6, my teacher felt that it would be inspiring for me, maybe not, to write lines every day. Every single day I came home from grade 6, my teacher would send me home with 100 lines. I will not talk in class. I will not talk in class. I will not talk in class. So as a young person, I actually felt like my speaking was a negative. And now I get paid a pretty penny to do just that. And so if I was young, at that time in my young life, if someone had sat down with me and said, Jen, you're a great communicator, but there's this other side of that, and that's listening and crafting a message that speaks to an audience and inspires people. So these things that are innate within us that usually become part of our business, part of what we do, it's really important to acknowledge them and to say, hey, these are my CAPEabilities, and how do I leverage those for greater success? So I want you to take a moment and write down just one of your CAPEabilities. How's everybody doing? Send me a little note and tell me how this is going. If everybody's feeling the buzz of their beautiful life being brought to the surface. I know you'll pop in when you can. So the next element is your superpowers. So now you know what your CAPEabilities are. You've taken a look at the fire that you've walked through, the crescendo of events that allowed you to move through some fire in order to be able to have greater greatness. Awesome. Hi, babe. Great. So the next, thanks guys. Thanks, Catherine and Jade. So then, this next element is to take a quick look at what these superpowers that you have are. So what is your calling? And many of you will be able to just come through with this and just put it right down on paper. Maybe some you're still honing, some of your superpowers. But I want you to write down, if I had one superpower knowing me and what I wish for the world, it would be. So write that down. Okay. So sometimes we know right away about our superpowers. Maybe you have many of them. And I'm sure I know many of you personally. So I know you have powerful superpowers and many of them. But it's really important because that actually is the foundation for what we're offering the world. And it's important in all the woulda, shoulda, couldas of the world and the details of building business online and offline, that we don't lose sight of why we're actually in this gig in the first place. Because it's not easy. Right? Walking that razor's edge and choosing instead of to plummet off that edge with fear and worry or frustration that things aren't coming together the way that you thought that they would, or any of that. It's easy to plummet off that edge, but to decide to stand in your grace and to stand in your truth and to choose to don that cape and to want to soar off that edge, this is a challenge. And so it's really important for us to understand that superpower, or that why. Why are we doing it? And for me, there are times, especially in building this online and all the distractions of this year of, beautiful distractions, but life distractions, getting back to why I truly wanted to even write that book in the first place. It wasn't about the writing of the book, or it wasn't about having co-authors that we would just come together and we would publish a book and then we would just, put it onto the Amazon and get all of our friends to buy it at a certain moment in time and then become international best-selling authors. It was about relationship. And I have to keep coming back to that. When things are not coming together the way that I think they should, and maybe this is you too, we have to get back to why we're doing what we're doing in the first place. What is it truly that we're here to do? And for me, when I looked at my superpower, because when I asked Nathaniel what his superpower was, and many of you know this story, I asked Nathaniel at 7 what his superpower was. And I said, not something fantastical, but something that, was truly rich in your life. And he said, well, Mom, teleportation is my superpower. And as a mom, you think, well, that's not exactly what I meant. But as a mom, you learn to say, tell me more, which we should do with all of you. We should do always with each other. And I said, tell me more. And he said, I teleport people to joy. And those of you that know Nathaniel, that is his fundamental purpose in life. This is what he brings to the table. It is in everything that he says, everything that he does. And when he is off kilter with that, he is not a happy little soul. So it's really important that he understand that's his foundation. That's his superpower. That's what he brings to the table. And if he doesn't honor that throughout his life, then he will not be truly happy. And for me, mine, when I had to look at it, and Nathaniel said, well, Mom, what's your superpower? I said, extraordinary game changer insight. And, you know, it didn't serve me well when I was dating when I was young, because I could see the potential in the guy I was dating. That didn't mean that he would actually rise to that potential. And I ignored lots of the stuff going on behind the scenes, but I would see the potential and I would want that for the person. Now I've learned that it's not about controlling or forcing that person to become something they're not, but it is about now at this stage of my life and in my business, personally and professionally, it's about putting out there some concepts and ideas or questions that allow a person to unleash the mad mastermind, the guru within them that allows them to take their life to a new level. If they choose not to, they don't need to. They can just move right along with whatever they choose, wherever they choose to get inspiration or insight. But if they want to, there's questions and conversations that can happen that can help them to unleash that potential. So what's your superpower? How is it serving your business? How is it serving your life? Are you off track with that? Are you doing a bunch of things because you think you should, because financially we need to pay the bills? And that's important too. That's an important stage of what we're doing. But it's really essential to remember why you're doing what you're doing and to constantly check in with that, because the world will take us off course many, many times in our life and in our experience and in our hero's adventure. So how many of you, I want to hear a little bit, so get ready to type. How many of you feel on a scale of 1 to 10, 0 being I am not in line with my superpower or my gift in the world. That's 0. I'm not in line at all. 10 is like, yeah, I'm on it. Like I'm living it and I'm soaring every minute of my life. So on a scale of 1 to 10, tell me where you are on this hero's journey of living your superpowers, of doing what you know is innately what you're to do in this world. Anyone that's brave enough to share, throw up your 0 to 10. 0 is you're not on it. 10, you're living it every second of your life. I'm going to wait to see where you're at. 8.37698. I love you, Steve. 7. Okay, cool. Catherine at 8. Maya 8. Awesome. Cool. Okay, thank you for sharing. Oh, me too. Me too. This is good. We know we're on purpose. We know we're on. Awesome. Thank you, Sharon. 8.88. I love it. I love you. Can you tell we're entrepreneurs? Everything is like detailed to the hilt. It's hilarious. I love it. And clever and funny. I love you guys. Okay, so we're in there. We're feeling like we're mostly there. Now what I want you to do is, so you know that what you're doing in your purpose is there. And it's good. Those are solid numbers. You're living it most of the time. And we're not always there all the time. We all know that. So now what I want you to do is I want you to just not just your business, but I want you to look at your life. So now we're going to talk about the values action alignment. So these values that you've got on your handout, these 7 dynamics for living success. Okay. You all have a version of this in the business that you do, I know, or, you know, you've explored it. So I just talk about it a little bit differently because emotional is not on that. So you've got physical, mental, spiritual, social, familial, financial, vocational, right? All those areas of our lives. Still, the number one thing I do with clients is this is the very first place we start, because this is something that never stops evolving in our lives. And it is very easy for us to get very focused in one area and lose sight of something else that happens to be important to us. Now, the reason why they're called 7 dynamics is if we think about this like music, these were all instruments in an orchestra and you played all these instruments at the same time, at the same pitch, at the same volume, Sharon, you can definitely relate to this. Would it be music? No, it would not. It would be chaos. And so at different stages of our life, we have different priorities in these various areas. You all know this. But are we on track? That's the question. And are we constantly reflecting on if we're on track and where we're not? Because you're all, 7 and above. When we look at where we are in our lives, we want to make sure that we're not just that in our business. We want to make sure that we are that in our lives, because we're not just here to build businesses. We're here to live powerful lives that then set an example for the people around us and the next generation of extraordinary game changers, right? That's totally the purpose. So now what I'd like you to do is take a look at those 7 dynamics. And in thinking about emotional is that gauge, right? It's the gauge that tells us if we're on or off track. You say the word physical and a person will either go, oh yeah, I feel so on it. I get it. Or there's a little bit of work I could do, or, oh my gosh, I just want to eat a cookie because I'm so overwhelmed with where I'm at in that area. I'd rather just go for the cheesecake instead. So the emotion tells us where we're gauging in those various areas. Okay. So what I want you to do is the first exercise, these are called the continuum exercises. So the first is essentiality scale. So the essentiality scale is about how important each one of these areas are to you. Okay, so 1 is of little importance and 10 is essential to my life journey. So these are not hierarchical, obviously. You're looking at each one and you're rating it on a scale of 1 to 10, how essential it is to your life, okay, right now. So I want you to take a moment and fill that out for about 2 minutes. Please note that if you are feeling rushed today, because there's lots, and you guys do a lot of this work, so it's kind of moving through and having an opportunity to reflect where you're at now. But if you're feeling rushed, this is like a life document, right? Because these values we're looking at on a regular basis based on, well, Katharina, you're about to move. You're going to look at things in a totally different way. Jade just got this new job. You're looking at this life in this new way. Sharon, you've just revamped your business and you're doing all of these, you're doing these programs for this healthcare industry. It's going to change and evolve and develop. And all of you have your own stories. So it's really important we're looking at these on a regular basis and not rushing through this work. So the next scale is called the reality scale. So where are you in each one of these areas right now? So 1 is you're spending little or no time in that area, and 10 is that you're spending a significant amount of time in that area. Okay, so take a moment and go through each one of those. Where are you spending your time now? This is not ideally. This is not the ideal scale. This is the reality scale of where you're spending your time and your energy in these areas that are either of importance or not to you. Okay, so take a moment right now to think about that. Okay, so I'd love to see by some comments, did you see anything surprising? Is there an area that you go, that really brings that to my attention? I feel like I really need to do some work in that area. Or did you feel like it's in a line, like you're doing this work? So any comments you have around that, I love to see them. Okay. Any other comments, thoughts? Physical's out of balance. Okay, cool. Good to know that, right? And so you're not probably learning anything you didn't know. A couple aligned, but a lot are lower. Okay, great. Tracking all with. Awesome. Vocational is 100% in balance. Awesome. It's great. Okay. So it's good. It's either a really fabulous feeling right now. Awesome. Mental is in balance, physical not. So this is not for you to pack these little bags of guilt, right? Like we pack the bags of guilt. You guys all know that. It is not about that. It's about when we see these discrepancies, we say, what are small things that I can do to get me back on track. Awesome. Thanks, Katharina. And so it's about now that this awareness is brought to your attention, and this is not like, I am not joking. This has been almost 20 years of doing this exact exercise with people over and over again, sometimes the same groups, because life, as we shift and change, we notice that these things come to the fore, and we say, once we notice, we can do something about it, because we can look at it and say, hey, you know what? I know that I need to do something in that area. Okay, so we're going to talk about one last thing, and then we're going to dive into setting some goals. You know, little changes make a huge difference, right? People always overestimate what they can do in a year, right? Overachievers, like some of you in this room might be, in your little world, like in this world that we're in right now. But we can overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in 10. So it's really important that we're setting these little goals for ourselves so that we can live in balance, because none of us here, you know, none of us here want to live lives that are in one focused area and not in the others. We all in our own businesses understand the importance of this balance and this flow together. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what your kryptonite is. So yesterday was our Mad Monday's call, and I talked about this concept of kryptonite. And some of you, I may have chatted about this with you, but you know, Superman keeps a piece of kryptonite in his layer, in his superhero layer. And so it's really important that we are able to understand that this kryptonite, the things that can harm us, the fears, the anxieties, the worries, the not feeling like we're connected, you know, in a way that we feel is really serving us, these things can get the better of us if we're not acknowledging them. So it's really important, and that's why Superman keeps that piece of kryptonite. He knows that that's deadly to him. Exposed, you know, outside of that glass, it would weaken him or destroy him. But that's the thing about fears. We keep friends close, we keep enemies closer. You know that expression. But really, what's our friend? What's our enemy? The friend is what we're accomplishing. The enemy is anything like resistance or procrastination or anxiety or fear that we're not going to be good enough, or that, you know, everybody's already doing what I do. What unique voice could I possibly bring to the mix? That's our kryptonite. So what is your kryptonite? What is it that is holding you back from busting out and truly achieving what you know in your heart of hearts, because you are all connected to that wise sense of self, that wise you? What is it that's holding you back? I want you to take a moment and just write it down and acknowledge it, because that allows some of that energy and the hold that it has on you to begin to clear. Okay, so take a moment to write it down. Okay, anyone want to share? Anyone brave enough to share what their kryptonite is? I'll start off, because yesterday I shared 2 of mine in the Mad Monday call. One is autopilot. I actually don't believe that anyone really functions all that effectively on autopilot when they're not consciously making choices and living their life from a place of thought, of purpose, of introspection. And then the world, the words, the actions in the world are a reflection of that introspection. And so for me, autopilot is not a good place. And how I counter that kryptonite is that in meditation. And so when I feel out of sorts, the family's visiting, the kids are off kilter, then I feel as though I really need to get back to center. I need to take time with Todd at 6 in the morning. We need to carve out the time, make it a priority, and get up and for 1 hour be in a place of peace so I can get back to centered living. Then the second kryptonite for me is that because I've spent a huge portion of my life learning and sharing and facilitating conversation about how to speak our truth, if I share my truth from a place of respect, if I feel I'm considering the other individual, I'm really feeling like I'm flowing from a place of love, and I speak that truth, and then I'm not heard, or, because little kids, they don't consider that, right? So if my boys don't hear me after I've been super kind about asking something, after a while, I can become a bit unhinged. So for me, it's about stepping into that, what many of you know as my bliss bubble, is making sure that I am giving that space and separation, that I'm holding space for the intention of what I need in order to feel that sense of peace. And then I'm not allowing other people's stuff to permeate that bliss bubble. Only what serves me permeates, what doesn't bounces off me. So those are kind of my kryptonites and my solutions. So I want to read about yours. Katharina, my life will be less free if I succeed. Wow, that's a super strong one. And I totally hear you there. I actually, for a number of years, I was completely afraid of moving back to Calgary. And I used to say to Todd, Calgary is my Pandora's box, because I was so committed to raising my family that I knew if I came back here, that there was never any limit to the opportunities here in Calgary. And that if anything, I'd have to be very clear about my no in order to prioritize my yes. So I totally relate to that, Catherine. And I bet you lots of people here do too, because the more success, isn't that funny? We're not afraid of failure. We're afraid of success, because how do we manage that success and still have a peaceful life? And that's becoming very clear about what our yes is and what our priorities are, and feeling very comfortable in our no, right? And many more elements to that. So then Steffi said, staying on focus, multitasking, doing too much at once, getting distracted by social media, internet as well. I don't think there's anyone here that doesn't struggle with that. I've actually found it, you know, I was just saying to my sister and brother-in-law last night that it's wonderful, all of this going online. But I will tell you that my return on investment for energy in versus dollars out, doing this whole online gig, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's unbelievable what you put into providing free service, free calls, free this, free that, all this energy, when in my life, you know, when I was doing corporate gigs and there was a focus on that and building my business that way, I weighed way more money for way less time in. But there's a balance that we need to find to be accessible to all. So yes, Steffi, I hear you. And I know that you're getting better and better at that. I've seen you over the course of this last couple of years, getting very clear about your priorities, and you're an inspiration. We all are. As we move through this Kryptonite, we are inspirations for others. Because if we can master a few bits of this, then we can inspire others, find them, give them ways, give them tools, give them those beautiful, mad, you know, ideas or gadgets to be able to use the missions in their life to be able to find that balance. So I really appreciate you sharing that, Steffi. I so hear that. And then attention on detail and focus, Maya. Absolutely, right? It's all about prioritizing yes versus no. And it's an everyday occurrence, right? Because the moment at which, right, it's the law of opposites. The moment at which you claim something to be true, you will have 1,000 opportunities to prove it. So you go on a diet, right? There's no diets here, ladies. I get that. I get that. All these healthy, beautiful, healthy women that have real ideas of what healthy eating and life and balance are about. But if you go on a diet, the next day someone shows up with the Krispy Kreme donuts. The moment at which you claim to have balance, you will have 4 other opportunities to get involved with some fabulous projects that you never even thought you would ever want to take on. And suddenly they're in consideration. So we are having to do this each and every single day, aren't we? Okay, I want to go back and grab some other comments. I love this. It's great. So true about the free online work, Jennifer. It's finding the balance. You are right. And testing it out and seeing what works, right? And that's exactly what this is about. Michelle and I are testing. We're testing Facebook ads. I don't want to be a conformist. I have no desire to do just how-to articles. I have no desire to become an international best-selling author by a gimmick. There's lots of people that don't do that, but I don't want it to be a gimmick. I want it to be real, sustained return on investment. I want it to be, I'd rather have 100 people engaged than 20,000. So it's constantly finding that balance. Steve says, stepping into the public arena, have been away from it for some time, my cave. Oh my gosh, Steve, I so hear you on that one. Six years of hibernation in Thunder Bay. I was so afraid about stepping back into the public eye. And it's baby steps, right? Baby steps. And I know you know that. And you have done Steve, I love you. And one of the ways I fell in love with you was watching you speak in a room. Your gentle, powerful ways, the message that you have to share, that's so authentic, your experiences, your travel, your whitewater rafting, who you are, the world will be served as a better place to have you back in it. But I feel that. And any of us that have stepped away, I know Steffi stepped away for a while too, and she was definitely global television public eye, stepping away, coming back. It's good to be able to share this because we've all been through it, and it's good to be able to support one another. And then in our meeting that we're going to be having in November, it'll be great to talk about how we can support one another through our Kryptonite, perhaps. So, okay. So Ellie said, I've been out meeting people. Sorry, I've been out. I'm just trying to find. I've been out meeting people face to face and doing less online. It's paying off in numerous ways. And that was the discussion you and I had all those months ago. Hey, Ellie. So that was, we talked about, you've got to find that balance. You can't go all online, the amount of energy and effort that goes into that, and then the no return on financial investment. So that I'm so happy for you that you've taken that leap in that corporate realm, Ellie. I'm so happy that you're finding that flourishing environment and that people are responding to you, because, you know, we chatted about that. I always felt that that was really what people needed, that face-to-face authentic connection with you. So I'm so glad about that. So great to hear, Ellie. It's true about personal conversations. So true. I've been meeting people. So great. Awesome. Really good. Okay. So many people selling 6 figures, 6 minutes with online businesses. And that's not really true, is it? Right? We know that, as in any business, these people that seem as though they're making miracles happen, some are, but not necessarily all. And I really, the more research I do and the more work I do and the more conversations I have with people like Michelle and people that are running businesses online, it is the balance. It's really important for us to get there. I put out so much free information, had little no ROI, absolutely. Fear of not having clarity around communicating my message. Oh, Jade, you and I will chat. My love, you know, I hear you. It's important. All that beautiful work is the introspection. And I know each one of these people on this call, you know, could give you insights on that, Jade. And because it really is, I mean, with every client, we start at that place, but it's the introspective work. It's actually figuring out what it is we truly want to deliver, what it is that what our message is, what our capabilities are, what our superpowers are, just fun ways of talking about passion and purpose and message. And then how do we craft that? And I know that every single one of these people on here would agree with me that it doesn't happen overnight. And actually, it's not about that destination, not just with regard to the messaging, but with regard to anything, it's not about the destination. And that's an awesome cliche that's so true. It is really, truly about the process of enjoyment. How much are we enjoying what we're doing now? And if we're not enjoying it, why in the hell are we doing it? And I know there have been different times for different reasons that I felt I needed to do something. But, you know, for a number of years in my life, those of you that know me well, in between the age of 16 and 26, 6 of my friends passed away. And so in my small town, I learned very quickly that there's no guarantee of tomorrow. So really, you know, in traveling and doing what I've done over the course of my lifetime, it was, if I only had 6 months left to live, is what I'm doing right now, what I'd be doing if that were true. If the answer was yes, I kept on doing it. If the answer was no, then I would switch it up and I would find a new goal, or I would move to a new country, or I would, you know, whatever I needed to do in order to evolve to the next level. And as I've had children, I've lost a little bit of that because I'm so focused on what I can do to provide for them. But I know when I do this work, because I do this work regularly, and we do this as a family, the values, action, alignment, and all this reflection, we do this every single year or at any time when there's a massive change in our life. And I look at it, and in this last little while, I've looked at it and said, what am I doing for enjoyment for me? Am I really loving what I'm doing? And I'm happy to put that on hold for a little while, as all of you have, to build a certain element of our life or our business. But it's really important to come back to say, what am I doing that I really love? Why am I doing what I'm doing? So I hope that today in this, that it just brought a little spark to you, that you got a gift to you, a gift that many of you offer to others, which is the gift of introspection, to tap that wisdom within you, and then to be able to just have a little bit more clarity in one way or another in your life. So the next and last thing we're going to do is your yes statements. So if you can write 2 yes statements, they are stop, start, or continue statements. So I'm going to stop doing something because that's no longer serving me, but always countered with the positive, the affirmative of intention of what you want to create. If you're going to stop it. I love you too, Katharina. Thank you guys. Oh, and I love your little heart, Ellie. It's so wonderful to share these conversations. And the only challenge is, and we'll have to see whether this works longer term with not having everybody else being able to talk, because I can hear your voices in my head, but I love the interaction. So it's finding that balance. But I appreciate all of you being so engaged today and sharing your thoughts and coming on and chatting. I really, really appreciate it. So what I want you to do is write these last 2 yes statements. You're going to stop doing something. You're going to start doing something, or something that's really, really, you know, jazzing you in your life right now. You know you're on track in this area. Celebrate it. I'm going to continue doing that because I know that serves me. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you being here for sure. So take a moment to write those 2 yes statements. And then I just want to share a little something with you by way of wrap up. Okay, so just take a couple of moments. Reflection in, reflection on. I don't believe in accidents though. Reflection on, reflection in. That's beautiful. I love your words too, Steve. You know I do. Awesome. Okay, just send me a little done when you're done your yes statement so I can see that everybody has wrapped up and then we're all on the same page. Done. Flowed out. Awesome. Steffi, I know you might have to step away. Hey, Steffi, that's all good. I love you. I really appreciate you being on the call, honey. And I'm very, very excited for the next connection that we're going to have. Finito. Awesome. Love it. Excellent. Okay, so I wanted to share with you the last little bit of this amazing song because it just speaks to this hero's journey. Thanks, Steve. So we wrapped up at, I sailed my ship of safety till I sank it. I'm crawling on your shores. So this whole idea of understanding that there's, thank you for filling us up. Love you, Steffi. This darkness that's insatiable and constantly moving toward the light. That's the whole purpose of our hero's adventure, isn't it, guys? Right? It doesn't mean that darkness isn't going to creep in either within us or around us, that it's not going to happen. It's not about turning a blind eye. It's about being those vigilant observers, seeing what's going on in the world. Truly, I'm not shutting it out because it's too difficult to deal with, but seeing it and then being able to do what we can within ourselves to create a greater sense of peace so that that reflects and ripples out to many, many others. And so that idea that there's darkness and light and we're moving towards the light, wrapping fear around me like a blanket, sail my ship of safety till I sank it. We want to sink that ship of safety. We are not here to live mediocre lives. One of my favorite quotes actually was on a beer commercial poster at the Mad House, a place that we used to go and have a cocktail at in Thunder Bay. And it said, I would rather die of thirst than sip from the cup of mediocrity. We're not here to live okay lives. That when they ask us at the end of when this is all over, someone says, how was your life? We don't want to say, nah, it was okay. We want to say, yeah, that was a wild ride. You know, I lived every dream in my head, in my heart. I did everything that I truly felt called to do. I found my muse, and my muse was sacred to me, and I followed it where it led me, and I lived a beautiful, passionate, mad, amazing life. That's what we want to say. So we want to sink those ships of safety, and we want to let go of that blanket of fear because there's no purpose in that. Feeling fired up even more today. Thanks for the Mad Mastermind. Thanks, Shade. So then the next line is, I went to the doctor, and my goodness, ladies and men that are in health, but particularly, Allie and Katharina, I'm thinking, it's like I went to the doctor, I went to the mountain. So I went to the doctor to find that solution. I went to the mountain, which is beautiful. I looked to the children and I drank from the fountains of life, right? Balance can breed mediocrity too. You're right. It's finding that balance, right? There's more than one answer to these questions pointing me in a crooked line because it's never easy. It's not a straight line. It's crooked, and that's okay. That's part of the process of this beautiful life that we get to live. And the less I seek my source for some definitive, the closer I am to find. So no matter these conversations or the tools or the tips that we explore, that we live, that we deliver, it's going to be a crooked line, and that's all right because we get to do it together. And the less that we seek this whole concept of definitiveness, of it being a certain way, then we are freed up to really flow with life, to learn something new about ourselves each and every day through the ebbs and flows of life. And then we can be truly fine because we're at peace with how mad, crazy, passionate we are, with how intense we can be, with how peaceful we can be. And really, it's so much better when we get to do it all together. And when we can't put on our own cape to help one another do that. So that's it for the Mad Mastermind today. But I want, we've got a couple more minutes. Questions, thoughts, ideas, anything you want to share with the group that you think might be an inspiration. What's your mad thought for the day? Anything you want to wrap up on, I would be so thrilled to receive. Awesome. Thanks for your time. Thank you for yours too, Katharina. I know we all have these busy lives, so I so appreciate that we get to be here, you know, at the last Thursday of every month, and we just get to be together and to share. And the more that we get into this, I'd love to feel like it's more of that interaction. Maybe we put forth some questions beforehand to discuss on the topic. Thank you for this. You're amazing. Thank you, Maya. Thank you, Ellie. Second that, Katharina. I'm feeling more connected to what I'm going to step up into. Love, love, love. That's awesome. And I know, Ellie, you and I have a call coming up in response, you know, as the gift, because you win every prize ever. I know you and I have a call coming up of where life's going to go next. Katharina, you and I are entering into some fun work together. You and empowering Todd and I to flow to the next level. And we're going to take some of these elements that we've discussed today to a new level for you and David. I love what's happening here. Hot seats. Okay. I want to know what hot seats means, Jade. You have to tell me. What do you mean, baby? I love you. And I love all your little icons, Steve. Hot seats. Okay, explain to me what that is, Jade. I missed something. Yay, so excited. Me too. So while I'm waiting, my goodness, I love all of you. I so appreciate each one of you and the work you do in the world. You know what admiration I have. I'm really excited we're taking this to another level. I look forward to seeing what you're going to be doing online and in person so we can all go and support that. And as we move through this whole process, you know, anytime you want to join us on the Mad Mondays, I'd love it. The flow that's coming now is that at the beginning of every month, the first Monday of the month, you get the theme of the month. Someone in the hot seat, the group focuses on helping them through their current issue. Yes, okay, I get it. I thought I missed a line. Hot seats are great. My coach calls them love seats. That's a great one too. Mad love seats. Okay, cool. Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. But so in this next little while, with the work that we're doing with High Banks, with these teen moms, it's actually, we've laid out this hero training for the whole year. So for the next 10 months anyways, and then it's going to flow from there. And so you'll get at the beginning of the month in your regular newsletter. So when you sign up, and I'm not sure, Jade, if you've signed up to the regular newsletter or just for this Mad Mastermind, but our regular newsletter, you get the book, The Mad Heroes Manifesto. There's a values video there that we talk specifically about these values in more detail. And then there's a values action sheet that's a little bit more in depth. So if you want that, Jade, just let me know and I'll send you the link to that. So in the regular Mad, in the monthly, not sure. Okay, so if you want, I'll send you the link in a private message, Jade. So you get that package. It's called your Trifecta XG Gadget Pack. And then every month you get the themes laid out for the Mad Mondays. The Mad Mondays are at 12 Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If any of you are, because not a lot of people are showing up live, if any of you have thoughts on that, I'd love that. If you feel like there might be a better time for those live Mad Monday calls. We've had about 300 views, 200 to 300 views on those every week. So we're just starting them. We've only been doing them for about just a few weeks now. So it'll be really great to be able to get any feedback that you have. And then every week, if you're not on the Mad Monday call, I do send your recording in your email. So if that serves you, then I hope so. People have been enjoying them. I hope you do too. And I look forward to any thoughts, feedback, and seeing how we can celebrate what you've got going on in the world. Thank you so, so much for joining me today, guys. I really appreciate all of you more than I could ever fully express. And, you know, as I say, wishing you an extraordinary game-changing day in your extraordinary game-changing life. Love you all, guys. Have a beautiful week. And I'll stay on for a couple more minutes in case anyone else has any other comments. But if not, then we'll see you the Thursday at the end of next month. Okay, we'll send you some communications on that. Thanks, Ellie. Mwah. Love and hugs. See you Saturday. Absolutely. Bye, Maya. Take care, Steve. Thank you. Hug. I feel it, girl. Awesome.